Are you cold calling to win new cleaning accounts for your cleaning business? Well, you need to stop immediately. But before you do that, watch this video. And before you do that, play that intro. What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Mike Mack from the JanitorialEntrepreneur.com, and I help people start, grow, and automate wildly profitable office cleaning businesses. And on this video, I'm gonna give you 3 of the best reasons I can come up with for why you should stop cold calling for new business immediately. And also, stick around to the end of the video because bonus time this week, I feel like all the bonuses are good, but this is probably the best bonus ever. You're definitely gonna wanna stick around to the end to check that out. But before we jump into this week's video, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, because I put out new videos just like this every single Friday, and you're not gonna wanna miss it. I'm gonna make sure that you don't wanna miss it. So now that all of that's out of the way, let's get into this week's video. Okay, so if you're not new to this channel, then you know that your boy Mike Mack absolutely hates cold calling. I know this because I've done it. And this wasn't the only business I've ever done it for. I've done it for other businesses in the past, and I'm telling you, even when it's successful, because it absolutely can bring new clients. But what type of clients? I don't want to give anything away. But let me tell you where I had it was a pivotal moment where I'm like, there's no reason to ever do this, right? This happened back when we still owned our franchise. Back when we owned our cleaning franchise, we were starting to hire, right? And we were having a really hard time, and we were in a big city at that time. We were in New York City, and we were trying to find cleaners, and we couldn't get people to stick around. And so we started asking, hey, why is our turnover so high? Our cleaner turnover, more and more people. And then we finally said, why stop asking each other? Why don't we ask the cleaners? And we asked the cleaners, and you know what they all told us? The money, the moolah. You're not bringing it, you're not paying enough. But we couldn't understand because we weren't paying minimum wage, right? So it was like, it wasn't that much higher because our profit margins were anemic. They weren't very great in the franchise days. So it wasn't just the pay, it was also the hours. So even though we were paying a little bit above minimum wage, it was like the hours we were offering wasn't really getting anybody excited. So we said, okay, since the hours aren't exciting, we have to figure out how to pay a little more. So we started eating into our profit. And it started doing a little better. We started getting a few more cleaners, but nothing crazy. So we figured out, like, if we paid a little bit more, we'd be able to entice a lot more people. But at this point, our profit was almost non-existent. There was a little while where we were running a business practically for free. So we went to our franchisor, who was awesome, great human being. We went to him and we said, hey, let's call him Bob. Hey, Bob, wasn't his name, but hey, Bob, can we start getting some increases on these accounts? Because, these things are, no offense, they're kind of underbid. Now, it was a long conversation and it was a great conversation, but where it ended, I wasn't really thrilled with. Where it ended was, I was told, Mike, we're calling people out of the blue. They don't know we're calling. They don't even know necessarily that they need a cleaning company. We can't then turn around and say, hey, pay us top dollar while you're at it. And that was a huge light bulb for me. And then I realized, no more cold calling. Reason number 1 for why you should stop cold calling for new cleaning accounts immediately is loss of positioning. Now, what is positioning? So a lot of people make a big deal about, sales and, oh, you gotta be persuasive and you just gotta be sharp and you gotta be really witty and you gotta be amazing. But let me tell you something. You could be all of those things, but if your positioning is in the toilet, meaning how you are perceived, if you are not perceived as an expert in your space or at what you do, you are not gonna get a lot of attention. And even if you do get attention, nobody's gonna be inspired to pay you top dollar to clean their space. I always bring up the example of the cardiologist versus the general doctor for your health. When you need to go get your heart checked, and knock on all types of wood that you don't, but if somebody needed to get their heart checked, who has better positioning in the heart game? Is it your general doctor or is it your cardiologist? Well, in matters of the heart, it is the cardiologist who has better positioning as far as the heart is concerned. Do you see what I'm saying? Whereas the general doctor, who may be an amazing doctor, but it's more, this doctor is more of a generalist, whereas this doctor is more of a specialist, right? So if we don't have positioning as an expert, we're not able to set ourselves apart. And if we're not able to set ourselves apart, then we're not able to basically show the amount of value we bring is much better than our competitors. Do you see what I'm saying? And if we can't position ourselves correctly, then we'll never be able to charge a premium. Now, when I say charge a premium, I don't mean just price gouge people, charge the most money in the world. No, I mean the opposite. I mean, come up with a deal where you're winning, your profits are great, your cleaner salary is great, all the other things built into your price are fantastic, and your client is happy to pay it because they feel like, yeah, you've demonstrated all of the value in the world. We are happy to work with you. Do you see what I'm saying? With cold calling, you're not able to do that because you're not coming in with positioning. You're losing that off the bat because you are just calling and you're giving off an air of desperation, even if you're talented on the phones. Which, for this franchise, the 3 people they had in the office pounding the phones all day, let me tell you, all 3 of them were absolute closers, absolute studs. And even they couldn't get you in the door with positioning. Reason number 2 for why you should stop cold calling for new cleaning accounts immediately. It's incredibly time consuming. Now, that one's pretty obvious. Usually I would ask, what do you mean? And then get into it, but it really is. It is incredibly time consuming because cold calling is a numbers game. Now, I'm sure if you're watching this video, you know what cold calling is, and some of you had the privilege of actually doing it and see just how really uncomfortable it is. But basically what it is you're opening up you either have a list or you're opening up a phone book and you're going down the list and you're calling people who are not expecting your call, and then guess what you're doing? You're trying to set up a sales conversation, or more specific to our industry, you're trying to set up a walkthrough. Or maybe you're even just trying to set up another conversation to do what you probably can't do on the first conversation. All of that is incredibly time consuming because it is a numbers game. Numbers game meaning the more you call, the more you crash those phones, the better you'll do, right? And that is incredibly time consuming. And now when you're just starting out as an entrepreneur, this stunts your growth in 2 ways, in my opinion. One, an entrepreneur just starting out, you're wearing multiple hats, right? Because you're the head of marketing, you're the head of sales, you're the cold caller, you are the person who has to go train new cleaners. In the beginning, you may even have to clean. You are the person who has to go pick up supplies. You're doing all of that to then give away hours of your day cold calling for new business. I'm just telling you, your time could be better spent doing other things. But another thing it does is it stunts your growth in another way, because when you're dealing with a lot of rejection, if you're not used to it, it takes a special human being to live with so much rejection and not let it seep into their psyche of like, oh, maybe I am annoying, or maybe I'm not that good, or maybe I should get a real job. That was a real thing I've gotten once. Cold call, hey, would you like our services? Go get a real job. Like, I thought this was a real job. But anyway, dealing with that much rejection could really, really, really stunt your growth. And reason number 3? Yes, that is 3. 1, yeah, perfect. And reason number 3 why you should stop cold calling immediately is my favorite, my non-favorite, depends on how you look at it, nightmare client alert. Now this is a dead giveaway. Now don't click over just yet. Nightmare client alert, what does that mean? When you're cold calling and looking for clients, like I mentioned before, it's a numbers game, right? You're really just waiting for someone to say yes, and then when they say yes, you're all excited because you're like, okay, I could close this account. Do you know what you're not thinking about? You're not thinking about, is this person going to be someone that is going to make myself and my cleaners absolutely miserable every day, or almost every day. Because with cold calling, you are not vetting your clients properly. You should be vetting potential clients, because let me tell you something. Just one nightmare client is enough to make you miserable. Could you imagine 3 to 5 nightmare clients calling you all hours of the day because they don't appreciate you? They don't see the value you bring. They don't think that you're an expert. You've lost that positioning. Does that make sense? So because of those things, you're letting nightmare clients in, and I'm telling you right now, I'm not saying it's a guarantee. Every client you get is a nightmare client. I don't think that's the case, but you will get some, and I'm telling you, you could have 15 clients that are absolute peaches, but 2 nightmare clients in that batch will absolutely make you hate owning your office cleaning business. I know this from experience, so you have to take my word for it. A little analogy I use is basically cold calling for cleaning accounts is, to me, like marrying someone you just found on Tinder that night. Yeah, I'm not saying it's impossible, I'm just saying the odds aren't in your favor. Okay, so in conclusion, I just want to say, if you are cold calling and you are successful, and you're avoiding all of these mistakes that I'm talking about, you're like, no, Mike, you know what? It's not a big deal. It's not that time consuming. I got a good system. And you're like, oh, Mike, you know what? I can live with a nightmare client here or there. I have support. Or in the first one, you're like, oh, you know, it's not really a big deal. I can handle all the rejection in the world. Or the first one, you're like, positioning, schminitioning. It doesn't even matter. I'm just crushing. Look, if that is you, maybe you do exist. Then you know what? I say hats off to you. You have my respect. It's just not the way I think most people are wired to want to go about things. At least that wasn't for me, and everyone I've ever talked to, everyone who comes into our community in some way, resonate with the message of, I don't want to cold call. I want to attract people into my world. I want people to come to me because they're like, you are an expert. I understand. I like what you are about. I like what your company's about. Let's do a mutually beneficial deal so you can be contracted to take over my space for the foreseeable future. That's what I'm all about. I'm all about those types of relationships because, like I said, like the picture I will point out every video, the poster behind me is open relationships over closing sales. Another thing, cold calling. If you're selling products, I would absolutely not be averse to cold calling if I was selling products because it's more one and done and you're kind of out of there. This is the relationships business. You are not in the one and done, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am business, okay? This is the relationship business. When you have relationships with your clients, they don't go anywhere. You don't have to worry about someone underbidding you, cutting your throat is how they, right? I mean, that's like an old term. Oh, that account came in and cut my throat. So it's not literal, but you don't have to worry about that, okay? My spiel on that is over. Okay. It is now bonus time. By the way, if you're still watching, give the video a thumbs up. I really, really appreciate the support. But let's get into this bonus. Just one bonus this week because I'm telling you, this one is value packed and I can't wait for you to check it out. So, are you interested in figuring out how we landed a $55,000 client using $200 worth of candy? Yeah, who would say no to that? Seriously. I put together an absolutely free masterclass, and guess what? It's yours. All you have to do is click the first link in the description. The name of the class is Chocolate Mastery. Yeah, Chocolate Daddy. I should have named it. I want to name it Chocolate Daddy. I wish I could have. But anyway, it's Chocolate Mastery. It's a short lesson. You're gonna absolutely love it. I promise, or your free money back. What do you have to lose? You have nothing to lose. All right, so that's it for me this week. If you haven't already, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, and turn on notification bells because I'll be back every single Friday. They're gonna have to take me out. Movie quote. So, but yeah, listen, I really do appreciate your support. This channel is starting to kind of grow, and like subs, and people are joining us in the free community because they want more access and they want more information. If you'd like to join a free community, it is the Wildly Profitable Office Cleaning Business Factory, and it is on Facebook, and it is a free group. That's an unadvertised bonus. I'd love to see you over there, but if I don't see you over there, I'll see you next Friday. It's been really fun. Peace out.